Guys, so I want to talk about a video that I just watched that really hit close to home for me. I just couldn't help but turn on my camera, sit down, and film this video right now on the spot. It's Matthew Santoro's abuse story. This video showed that female onto male domestic violence is definitely an ongoing problem, and it's something that's not talked about a lot. I feel like society makes men out to be the stronger, more dominant sex, so to a lot of people it might seem kind of ridiculous that a woman can physically abuse a man. In Matthew Santoro's video, he was speaking out about the fact that his ex-girlfriend punched him in the face. I'm not speaking out about the abuser. I don't know who it is. I know that a lot of people have insinuated that it's Nicole Arbor, but I'm not going to speculate at all. I'm just here to tell you guys about my abuse story. I've touched lightly on this topic in previous videos, and if you guys have read my book, Mean Boys and Memories, you'll know that I also talked somewhat briefly about my abusive relationship. First, I want to tell you guys how I met this guy, when I met this guy, just basically all about this relationship and why it was so hurtful. When I was in my junior year of high school, I was single, and I'd been single for over a year at that point, and I had gained some weight. I was going through a really weird time in my life. I was having kind of an identity crisis. I got to talking to this guy over MySpace. In my book, I named him Bill, so for the sake of this video, he will be Bill. No offense to any Bills out there. So Bill and I started talking through MySpace, and he was very flirtatious towards me, gave me a lot of compliments, and at that time, when I was so weak and felt so uncomfortable in my own skin, the fact that I had a male who happened to be slightly older than me giving me attention and sending me all these nice messages and giving me so many compliments on my appearance, he kind of sucked me in. So we talked for a few weeks on MySpace, and then we decided that we wanted to meet up, and he lived about an hour and a half away from where I lived. He didn't have a car, I had a car, so naturally I drove to him to meet him for the first time, and there was just an instant spark and attraction between us, and I just remember us deciding that we wanted to be girlfriend and boyfriend the very first night that we met, which looking back is just absolutely crazy, but I think that I was so desperate at that time too, that I so badly wanted a relationship and someone to care about me and someone to convince me that I'm worth something, that I just jumped at the opportunity of being in a relationship with somebody. First couple of months with Bill were okay, but there were some really alarming things about him. He was kind of sort of homeless. He was living in between family members' homes. He had a really terrible relationship with his parents. He was a high school dropout, which is something that I tried to hide from my parents. And not to mention, I was driving an hour and a half almost every other day to go see him. I was barely 18 at the time, so it was a little crazy. Eventually, I graduated high school and I went off to college. There were definitely some serious jealousy problems in our relationship. He also used the fact that I had family that supported me against me. There was always that little bit of resentment in the relationship. While I was going to school, he was able to find an apartment and I helped him pay for it. Soon enough, I found myself staying there almost 24/7, and I was no longer staying in the dorms at my school. Once we started living together, things started to get very intense between us. The controlling behavior on his part just got way worse. He would not let me wear certain clothes out of the house because he thought they were too revealing. He would constantly check my phone. If for some reason a guy would text my phone, he would grab my phone and freak out. There were actually a few occasions which he would see that someone of the opposite sex was texting me. He would grab my phone and in anger he would smash my phone. There was one night in particular where I was very fearful of my life, and this was during the time that we were briefly living together, and it was during a time that he didn't have a job and he really didn't have a way of paying his rent. I'm going to school at this time, and I'm not only worrying about my schoolwork, I'm also worried about my boyfriend, and I'm scared of him ending up on the streets, and I don't want to lose him, and I don't want him to be in a bad spot. I almost felt like I was trying harder for this man than he was trying for himself. So on this particular night where we got into a huge fight, he was texting somebody, and I inquired who he was texting, and turns out that he was trying to go and get some marijuana, which I was very upset about because he was trying to find a job, and I told him, how are you going to get a job if you are smoking pot? You're gonna have to get drug tested wherever you do get a job, so why are you doing this? You're just sabotaging yourself. As he ran downstairs to get away from me and to leave and go pick up his drugs, I grabbed him by the hand and I said, no, don't leave. And at that point, he pushed me back up against the wall and he started choking me, and he was screaming into my face. He was screaming with such anger and such intensity that he was pretty much just like spitting all over my face. I had no idea what was happening. 1 second we're standing there, the very next second he has his hands up against my throat and I can't breathe. If it weren't for the neighbors downstairs coming outside to see what the commotion was about, I'm not really sure how that situation would have ended. But after that, I ended up having the neighbor go back upstairs with me and help me pack my things, and I ended up going back to my dormitories and not speaking to him for a very long time. He did get in contact with me after that, and he begged for my forgiveness, and me being the stupid person that I was, took him back again. And at this point, my family members and my friends all knew how he was treating me, and they told me if they found out that I was still with him, they would no longer speak to me. For a while after I got back together with him, I lied to my friends and family about us being together, and it just became very difficult to do that. Something else happened, and he ended up breaking my laptop and breaking my cell phone, and I had no choice but to tell my mom at that point because I had no phone. And then after that, I finally made the decision to stop doing this to myself and to move on. A lot of people might ask me, why did I stay in a relationship like that for so long? Why did I subject myself to this? And honestly, I think the reason why was because of low self-esteem. For a while, I thought that I actually deserved this. So this is the part where I'm going to read to you guys an excerpt from my book. I think that it's hard for some people to comprehend how difficult it is to leave an abuser. They may say something like, why didn't you just leave? It's not that simple. If it were that simple, domestic violence wouldn't be an issue in today's world. Abuse isn't just about hurting someone physically or mentally. It's about manipulation. People who stay in abusive situations think they are too weak or too scared to leave. Telling a person to leave an abusive situation is like telling a drug addict to stop doing drugs. My family told me to leave Bill countless times, but it took me hitting rock bottom to finally end it myself. Leaving an abusive partner is a decision you must make yourself. For some, that decision comes too late. But for me, it came just in time. And I do consider myself very lucky. I want to let you guys know, if you are in an abusive situation, there is help. It's something that so many people go through. So many of you guys have messaged me telling me about your abuse stories. It is one of the most challenging things to have to deal with and to get yourself out of. I am here for you. I am here to talk to you. You know you can always reach me on Instagram or Twitter or Snapchat. Also, I will leave information for a domestic violence hotline in the description box below. So that's going to be it for today's video. Hopefully this is able to help some of you guys. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, share this video, spread the word. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!